Yo, what's up, everybody? That countdown went faster than I thought. I was still typing. Everybody, welcome to an episode of the Lost Holocron podcast. We decided to go live with this. I think this will be something that we'll do each week. It makes it easier on all of us. I and we'll get a chance to talk to you guys all in real time. I am your host, Didge. With me, as always, is the homie AJ. AJ, how are you doing today?
Stressing out.
Jesus.
Goddamn laptop.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Hopefully you get that fixed by next week. But also with us today is our good friend Jamie. Jamie, your North Carolina Tar Heels just went up. Just to let you know.
Let's go Tar Heels.
I placed
How
a
are you
bet on them
today?
too. They better win.
boy.
Okay.
No pressure.
Just because you said that, now I'm not feeling so great about our odds. But
Yikes.
Oh, wow.
it's always when somebody was betting on it. That's when things go haywire,
That's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
But I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk with you guys about more Ahsoka. And yeah, it's been a chill weekend. I introduced some people to some English muffin pizzas. Listen, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. That's all I gotta say.
I'm telling you guys, I saw them. They're just giant bagel bites, but they look good. But they're
Oh
just
my
giant
God.
bagel bites. No, Joel, you weren't here when she was so adamant that they weren't gonna look like giant bagel bites. Like, but last but not least,
Depends.
with us for the first time. I'm sure you've seen him on many stuff. I am frozen, guys. I don't like that. Oh, I'm back. Okay. With us on many different podcasts, but it's his first time here on the Lost Holocron.
Yeah.
It's the homie Joe L. I'll say it how your name is placed there. Joel, how are you doing today?
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's why I do it. So we will so this is how it's pronounced, not for looks. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's my first time on this show, so this is pretty. I didn't realize that it was my first time on the show. So yeah,
I didn't either until I was going through, writing all the stuff down. So we're glad to have you. We've definitely off camera had many Star Wars conversations, so I'm glad to bring it to camera.
Sweet.
So, as you know, we are all going through our journey in Ahsoka. This is episode 3. Jamie, AJ, and I had the chance last week to talk about our feelings already on episode 1. And since this is your first time joining us, we haven't really gotten the chance to talk about your feelings. I wanted to first, before we get into episode 3, hear how did you like the first 2 episodes?
I really enjoyed them. I also really appreciate that they came on at night instead of for me it's at night, like it's at 9 to whatever. It's much better than having to wake up super early to watch it before anyone could spoil it, which I don't appreciate, but I used to do it anyway. So I really do appreciate that, Disney. Thank you very much. And I thought it was only for that 1 week, so I'm happy they did it again. It's consistent. I'm like, this is what we should do going forward. This is what I'm talking about. I like this. So in that regard, good start for me, at least on my mood. But the show itself was really good. I thought it was a really good way to start it. It did feel like another season of Rebels, maybe not without everybody, but it was I do like that because I was a big fan of Rebels anyway. So I'm just kind of sitting there waiting for everybody else to show up, and I feel like we'll get there to a certain point. And I was intrigued by the new characters and how they tie in. I don't know much about them and their weird orange lightsabers. I'm very curious how that plays out. Who the man behind the mask is, or woman, who person. Looks like an Inquisitor, so we'll see how that plays out. Looking forward to that. I already liked Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, so this is just a continuation of that. It's really now, how do I forget her name, but the girl that's playing Sabine.
Natasha, I think it's Lynn Berduzzo. I can't remember her middle name, but it's
it's a weird last name, but yeah. She did good though. I enjoyed her version. Them bringing in I forget the name of the droid.
Hu Yang.
Oh man, he's been so fun in that show. And I barely remember him when I had to look it up. Hu
Yang is definitely a hater.
But I love him.
Yeah, he was in Clone Wars.
Yes, and I forgot about that. I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, that is that droid. I'm like, that's cool. I like that callback. That was really cool. Love seeing Chopper again. Who else? I'm missing someone. I know I'm missing someone.
Hera.
Fuck, there you go. Yeah, that's a big one. Hera was great too. I didn't know how I'd feel about her playing her, but I think she's been killing it so far. So I really like her, Hera. Seeing their son, Jason, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Jason.
I always wondered what he was gonna look like. Like I was like, what is he gonna like?
Jason Sandula.
Yeah, but hey, whatever. We'll see how this. I mean, so far he's interesting. I want to see. I hope there's more of him. So I want to see that, and of course I want to see where this goes because it's very early on. But I've enjoyed it thus far.
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that has been the biggest, I guess, asset to this series is it always leaves you wanting more. The first episode, I know I jumped right in the chat between the two episodes since they came out together, was like, Disney is lucky that they gave us the two together, because I would have tried to riot after that first episode if I had to wait a week.
They left you hanging like that.
right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that would not have been great. And then even with episode 2, the way it ends, you get Ahsoka calling Sabine Padawan again, and it just sort of ends there. It leaves you wanting, like, okay, we seem like we're back on track. Where are we going from here? I'm just really excited to see it. Even at the end of this episode, and we're going to obviously get there throughout the course of the episode. The way that they're ready to hunt them down, knowing that they're in the forest, it's like, well, shit. Now I got to see how is that going to happen? Like, what's going to happen in the forest there? What's the hunt going to be like? So, let's jump into some of the recap of the episode. We'll hit some of the bigger points. You didn't need to make that comment, AJ. Like, that threw me so off. You didn't need to do that. But all right, so this episode, I think, obviously it starts off with Sabine going back into her training. She's very rusty. Hu Yang's not making it any better with all of his comments, especially with the comments that he gave at the end of the last episode. Like, to what Jamie said earlier, Hu Yang is a super hater. Like,
he's being honest.
He is, but at a point, it's like too honest.
Yeah,
not supportive. I'm like, come on, man.
Jedi protocol now. Get it together.
It's protocol, but you don't need to do that. Like, you at some point, you're a hindrance to their training.
People's skills are 0.
Yep.
Her training in general was making her go blind and having to fill it out. That was a cool way to do the training, because having her have to do that, you don't rely on all of her other, I guess, her traditional weapons training, because obviously she's traditionally is good with a weapon, but now you can't rely on that, because you got to focus on what can you hear, what can you feel, how can you sort of anticipate around that. AJ, we'll go to you. Like I said, that was my favorite part of the episode. So as we're doing this recap, AJ, what were some of your favorite parts?
Well, yeah, that training sequence was my favorite part as well, or one of my favorite parts as well. Also, another one of my favorite parts was Ahsoka in space with the lightsabers. Greatness right there. Those are the two main. Yes,
that was cool. That was cool.
I need more of that. ASAP. But yeah, those two scenes were my favorite. I love the chemistry between Ahsoka and Sabine was great. I love how they went off each other, helping each other out during that space battle scene.
Yeah.
You can also see that Ahsoka is struggling as well, being a mentor, just as Sabine is struggling to be a student. And a lot of that comes from their discourse from the past. And I really hope we get some backstory within that, because that does seem really interesting to know. But we, at the same time, we don't have enough time. We only have 8 episodes, or what? Right now, 8.
So
5 more episodes left.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the discourse, AJ, is that something that was not covered in Rebels, or do you just mean like, oh, okay?
So
I assumed I was just out of the loop.
No, you're not. We're all out of the loop at this point.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, the discourse is off screen. Sabine and Ahsoka really didn't like communicate really in Rebels.
Okay.
So that's the main reason why I want to see a little bit of a backstory between those two. Like we get hints and stuff within the series, but I want a lot more. I want to see it actually. So yeah.
Fair. And that's one of the things I wanted to ask. I guess even sort of the wider panel. I know, Jamie, you said you watched the Clone Wars, so I think you could answer it as well. Do you guys think that Ahsoka is sort of her struggles as a mentor or as a teacher are stemming from the way that her own training went? Like, you got to think her training, like she said, I think she said it in this episode, or it might have been two. She did walk away from it essentially. Like, she was taught all she could, but at the end of the day, it technically wasn't finished. Like, I think looking back at it, she's seeing a lot of her struggles as a teacher are stemming from, well, she kind of struggled as a student as well. She didn't, they weren't the most, like, they had a close relationship, but the teaching aspect of it had its struggles a lot. And I wonder if she's sort of seeing the similarities in her relationship with Sabine, where she has to sort of play the more mature role this time because she is the teacher, she is the mentor. And so I wonder, are you guys thinking that could be some of the struggles that she's having? Joel, I'll go to you with that one, just because I know we haven't heard much from you yet. So,
thank you, appreciate that.
Well, you missed the entire episode. I want to make sure that you're here.
Nah, I get that. What was the initial question?
Do you think that like Ahsoka's struggles to teach Sabine kind of stems from her relationship with Anakin and like how her training ended?
That's a good question. Like you said, Ahsoka and Anakin had they were very much master and apprentice, but also they were brother sister. It was very friendly sometimes. It wasn't exactly the same mentorship that he got from Obi-Wan, like Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. Like it's definitely different. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Anakin was hard on her when he needed to be. And look, she did kind of bail out just before things probably would have turned up. And look, she got training during a war, which is not easy either. Like, so she was more advanced in a lot of different ways because of the fact that she had a lot of in-ground or on hand experience with a lot of it.
It was very much trial by fire.
Oh, very much so. A lot of it. Like, she was very young when she was Padawan, or at least looked very young.
Yeah, right.
So she grew up during the war, a lot of it. So she grew. Like, she's obviously not the same. She's very similar to, she's more in line with what she was in Rebels, where she's more mature and level-headed, and there was she was definitely more energetic when she was younger. So she has to know that, like, it's not always easy to teach people, especially with Sabine, who's been very, I don't want to listen to you type of person a lot of the time. Especially those last two episodes where she was like, man, she's hard-headed. Man, she's like, it's hard to teach someone that doesn't really want to listen, and you don't have the patience to teach.
She was that's the same with Ahsoka when she was a student as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of that annoyance with Ahsoka is that she sees herself within Sabine, and Hera says that to her as well. So that's something that I really like.
Yeah. And it's all line of headaches, because it's not like Anakin was a fucking cakewalk. He was a pain in the ass.
I think it was Hu Yang who talked about that. Is like, you come from a line of non-traditional Jedi.
Right,
so
exactly.
It's like, what he really meant was, this entire line is just, you guys are all headaches.
Yeah, all of you. Pain in the asses. All older than you should have been when you were trained. And it's like, that's a very good point. Yeah, they were all very much non-traditional liege Padawans. So I think that plays a big factor in her teaching Sabine, and the fact that Sabine is not a naturally talented Jedi in terms of the way of the Force. I'm actually surprised that they didn't go into the whole not looking training sooner, considering that's like one of the first things you see with Luke and Obi-Wan in the original movie, with him putting the whole helmet on. That was one of the first things he did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would love to like what you guys were saying earlier. I would really like to see more of that background, because the way they left it in Rebels, it was Sabine and Ahsoka basically showing up, saying they're going to do something and leaving, and that kind of, there's a big ass gap there. We don't really know what happens. Then we find out that basically Sabine was being trained as a Jedi during that time period, and they obviously had to split. And like, there's a lot there that to still explain to us, but obviously we're going to get her being retrained, and obviously she is a Mandalorian, which some people may forget, because that's a big part of Sabine's nature, and the fact that she was, that she's a legit Mandalorian. So like, yeah, I think that has a big factor in that whole training aspect between mentor or apprentice and master.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, to your point of wanting to see some of the stuff, we obviously know we're going to get some flashbacks to Ahsoka's time, just because we know Hayden Christensen is in there. Yeah. So I can't imagine those are the only line of flashbacks that we're going to get.
Yeah.
That'd be really weird to just be like, okay, yeah, we're going back to Clone Wars flashbacks. But that's it. Like, there's an entire gamut of stuff. There are a lot of questions that are out there. You kind of have to answer those, and it's gonna be one of those things where it's gonna be interesting how you're gonna do it within these remaining 5 episodes. But if they're anything like how these first 3 have went, I definitely think they're up to the task.
Absolutely.
One other thing I wanted to talk about, and Jamie, I think it was you who talked about it last episode. You can really see how the First Order rose to power. Like, this New Republic, they're not good at governing.
No.
Obviously, Hera, she's trying to go get the request about all of the information that they're having about Thrawn, and trying to sort of just request backup to go handle this. And at every situation, they were just kind of like, but is it really a threat? Like, do you really need this? And it's just, it's crazy to see the ineptitude of them right after basically y'all know that this essentially happened once before. Y'all just gonna dig your head in the sand and just be like, nah, I don't think it'll happen again. I want to ask you, what are some of your thoughts about how those senators kind of just kept pushing back on everything that she was asking for?
Oh man, that was one of the best parts of the episode for me, because it was like, Hera was talking to the senators, and the senators were just like not having it, and then Hera's like, now what is going on here? Like, I'm asking for your help, and now you guys are saying like I'm doing this for Ezra or something, which when she like responds to the idea of like, like, oh, you're saying like Ezra went missing looking for Thrawn, and now Thrawn's a threat again, so you want some help to try and look for Ezra or something. Like, she doesn't even really deny the fact that she would love to continue to look for Ezra or have that kind of help, but she's like, even if that was the case, like, Thrawn is still a threat. Like, did you fight in the war, Senator? Like, who was on the battlefield? Who had to deal with this person? I'm telling you right now, like, we need to get ahead of this. And I actually really like that aspect of it. And usually with Star Wars, it's like the politics, sometimes it goes right over my head, but this time I was in it. It was very spicy, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, they were definitely spicy, because they just, even like the guy who even said like, no, I wasn't. And she goes back to ask him about, well, you just sort of sat back to see who was going to win, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You could feel that kind of stung at him. And I think that didn't help her cause at all. Like, this bitch. Like, I'm good. No, you're not getting help now. I'm good on helping you. I hope you guys stay lost. Like, I felt he felt very petty. And it was crazy, because as soon as they showed them all on the screen, the way he looked, I was like, yo, this he's the smug one. He's the one. Like, so that part was very interesting. And we sort of see the direct aftermath of that right after. obviously she goes to tell Ahsoka and Sabine that you're not going to essentially get any help. So they go to do it themselves. And I think we get the other very big hallmark of the episode. Obviously, AJ already said it was one of his favorite moments. We get this entire fight where Hati and it was Merrick with her too, right? Like
yeah, it was Shin and Marat.
Marak, however you pronounce it. I thought they said Merrick in the episode, but
it might be Merrick.
Either way,
I don't remember.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember either. But either way, they show up and they are basically trying to take out the ship. And I one of the things I liked about this part is you can still see the distrust that Shin has for Morgan Elsbeth. Like, I'm curious. I want to see how that's going. Yeah, I want to see how that relationship is gonna end because, like I said, you could really see that she does not like her. Whether it's fear, like AJ was saying, or sort of, just some hatred. For some reason, she just does not like her, and I think it all stems back to the fact that she's a Night Sister. So I want to know what's that reasoning, what's her relationship with Night Sisters. But even beyond all of that, this scene was just really cool. Like, it was a good fight. Ahsoka getting out on the wings and taking out a ship was crazy. Hu Yang being useless.
Hey, enough on Hu Yang, man. He's been working.
You sent the tweet.
He's been working.
You sent the tweet. Like, that's where I got the statement from. But all in all of that was really cool. And then when we get to when Morgan Elsbeth thinks that she got them, but obviously they escape. We get to the point to the end where they land onto the planet. I can't remember the planet's name. I'm sorry. These little details always escape me.
Planets especially.
Right. There are so many of them.
There's a lot of information.
But landing there, obviously they saw the ISI on there. They sort of get the idea that it's going to jump from galaxy to galaxy, and they know that now that it's not complete. But also at the same time, Hati is aware that they're there, and they're ready to go hunt them down, and that's sort of where we end this episode at. Not gonna lie, I was very upset that that's where it ended. It was so short.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if the runtime was sort of the same as any of the other 2 episodes, but we got 2 of them.
Shorter.
Okay, it was shorter still.
It was the shortest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was real short.
Okay. I just thought after watching it, I was like, well, damn, we did get 2 last week, so maybe that's why I just feel so much shorter. But I was really upset by it. But I do think that that's a natural ending. Like, I don't know where else you could have really ended that episode other than them saying, well, we know they're here, go find them. And then you sort of, because you have to start the next episode with that, and we still need to see what's going to be the fallout. What is Hera going to do? Like, there are so many questions. But before we get into any of our predictions and where we think we're going with any of that, AJ, tell us about some of your favorite Easter eggs from the episode, because I know you have plenty.
Well, the spaceship scene with Ahsoka in space defending the ship was amazing. I gotta reiterate that again. But that for me, it felt like a callback to the and Star Wars Visions, the twins, where they were fighting in space, which I thought was really cool. Also, the training sequence. There's a lot of samurai-esque type of training, which is something that Dave Filoni really loves to do. So that, or just a fan of it in general, which is which is also cool. I think that's about it, actually.
Okay. I know obviously Joel already talked about some of the one with the blind training, how obviously that's a liken back to Luke's initial training. One of the ones I liked was how Ahsoka really talked about how anger leads to hate, and how that sort of that doesn't give you strength. I think she has a very close relationship to sort of how anger can lead to hate and how that doesn't give you strength just from one being Anakin's apprentice and seeing the anger that he held. Oh, go ahead.
It's with that line. It was anger gives you strength quickly, but it makes you lose focus.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
like lose control. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But and so even still with that line, I think she has, like I said, a very close relationship to it, just because of being Anakin's apprentice and seeing where his anger led him, and she could clearly see that yes, he had the strength, he had all of that, but she knows obviously the outcome of Darth Vader. She knows where his entire line led, and so making sure that that's something that she's going to teach anybody who under her, it felt very true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a callback to Yoda telling Anakin that anger leads to suffering and all that. So that was a nice callback as well.
Yeah, I definitely like that line. And I think it's something that's just good to know in life. You shouldn't utilize your anger as a weapon of choice, because you do get blinded by it. And then the other one I really liked was, I think, Joel, you already brought it up too, just being able to see Jason grown up.
Right.
We only saw him as a baby. I was curious also to how he would look.
Me too.
He's very human-like for half to not be, but
hey, he's got the green hair. He's got the green hair.
I'm not sure how genetics work with aliens over there.
I thought genetics would work a little different than that, but
the dad was more dominant, I guess.
Dad is the dominant gene. Yeah,
you know that was interesting. Yeah, I guess I'll open up to you guys. It didn't only have to be AJ and I. Were there any Easter eggs that you guys liked? Just something that you felt, even if it's not an official one, just something that you felt like, oh, this felt like a callback to something. I am curious about that.
Well, I can't say if this is like an official callback or anything, but Sabine flying between you said it was Purgles, AJ?
Yeah.
And like kind of like weaving through. It kind of made me think of like when Ahsoka and Anakin like were getting into trouble, and they would like take the ship and like weave through different like buildings or like ships or whatever it was. It made me kind of think like, like I wonder like how Sabine like learned to fly like that or whatever. So I don't know if we'll get into that or if that's just something I'll have to go to Rebels for. Yeah, I think that was it.
Fair. Joel, I know you gave some throughout, but if you have anything you would like to add, because right after this, we're just getting into theory time. So that's all. Okay. That's all that's left for the episode after this. If you want to lead off that, let's hear. Who do you think? Merrick, however you want to pronounce it. Who do you think he'd be, or what do you think? Just in general, where do you think we're going with these last 5 episodes?
Oh, that's a very good question. That's a problem. I don't know. I'm not much for theory.
I know. That's why I wanted to lead with you.
I kind of just go in. Hopefully, I'm not saying I don't have it or I don't have thoughts like when. All right, this is where I think it's going.
Yeah,
I always do. But like right now, like I don't know. I didn't even pay attention to Merrick or Morocco, whatever, until everyone started asking who the fuck it was. I'm like, I didn't think it mattered, but you know what? Maybe it does. I didn't even care until someone asked about it. And then what else? My biggest thing is like what I look forward to seeing is like, where the fuck is Ezra? Like we've seen Ezra like in the whatever the hologram thing. I can't. We've already seen at least in one of the trailers Thrawn. So I want to see Ezra now. Like I want to see did he get? It looks like he did get transported with Thrawn wherever Thrawn got sent, right? So that's where we assume he's at. Has been. And it looks like it's far, right? It looks like they got transported very far away. But I have no like in terms of like like, I think this person is this person, or this person's scheming here, or this person's connected to this person, or like those two random ass fake. Not fake, because they were obviously Jedi at one point. I don't know what to call them though.
I don't know
Outlier
what to call
Jedi.
them either. Yeah.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I do want to know what's up with them. And the whole thing with, I didn't even know about the Night Sister thing with what's her name?
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan. It's such a normal name for a character.
It very much is. And before I go to you next, Jamie, just about some of the things that you're either hoping to see or just some of the things that you're predicting, I will say Disney and PlayStation did not let me be great. I told you guys last episode that I was saving the look of Thrawn for it to show up in the episode. I didn't watch any of the trailer after the first one. And I forgot what video I was watching on my PlayStation, but I don't have PlayStation. I don't have a YouTube Premium on there. And that was the ad. So it was like, oh, great. I thought it was just a regular ad. And then all of a sudden you see it turn. And I'm like, no. So, they did not let me be great. I guess that's off my list now. You know, I guess I've seen Thrawn. I still can't wait to see him in the actual episode. But I think the thing that I'm probably the most excited to see about are the flashbacks. Like, I do want to see what is the scope. Like when Obi-Wan came out, that was the big thing. We're like, oh, we're gonna get this flashback, we're gonna get that flashback in. We didn't. We got some, but I think we didn't get the Clone Wars one that we were hoping for.
We wanted the armor, the one with the clone armor.
Right. So I'm curious if we're going to get that now, or if they are just sort of going to leave that for whatever. But even so, I still do just want to see Hayden Christensen just back as Anakin and or Vader, wherever they want to go with his flashbacks, just because I do like the fact that when Obi-Wan came out and he was able to see the love of that the Star Wars community, just all of the fans really gave him, especially after the way it ended initially. I love that, and I love him getting a chance to just do it one more time. Hell, if you want to do it 2, 3, 4 more times, I don't care. Just keep bringing him back. I do think that he played that role to a T. And I'm curious to see what role Sam Witwer has. That's the last thing. Who is he playing? So, like I said, Jamie, we'll go to you next. What are some of the things that you're still hoping to see, or if you have any predictions?
Yeah, I know last time, I think you guys were talking about Sam Witwer possibly being Marok. I'm still open to that. I'm still like, if somehow miracles can happen, he could be Star Killer. Like that would be the dream, but it's probably not gonna happen. But I also, just talking about it before we started the stream, there was a line towards the end of the episode where Sabine was saying, like, the last time they saw Purgles was with Ezra or something, and Marok just so happens to be like, one of the people that they interacted with right before that happened. So I was thinking, like, I think last time we recorded, there was like a theory that Ezra could be Marok or something like that, and I'm like, that could be some supporting evidence, possibly. Not that I have like any idea like who is who, but but just going based off of the information I'm given so far, I'm like, that could be a little nod, a little hint there. As far as what I'd like to see for the future, definitely still would love to see more of the Night Sisters. Because like we were saying with like Asajj Ventress, I thought they were.
I know he wants that.
Yep. But I thought they all kind of looked similar to Asajj, at least in the Clone Wars, with kind of like at least pale. I don't know if they all were bald, but at least pale-ish. And Morgan does not look that way, so I'm curious about that. And definitely some more fights. They've already fulfilled that wish from last episode, but I'll keep wishing for it so we get even more Ahsoka fights, please. I love it.
That's fair. AJ to round. Oh wait, were you about to say something? I thought I heard you say. Oh, okay.
I was like, oh yeah.
Fair. I wanted to make sure I didn't cut anyone off. By the way, I looked at the actress who plays Morgan Elsbeth outside of this. She definitely, all they did was pale her. They did nothing else to her. Like, she looks exactly like this picture I just saw of her.
What's her name?
In real life, her name is Diana Lee. Inosanto?
Dino
Maybe I'm
Santo.
typing-
All right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of Bruce Lee's.
Granddaughter.
What do they call?
No,
yeah, like one
her
of his
father.
students.
Her father is one of
Her
his
father,
students.
yeah, Danny Inosanto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was a direct.
That's cool.
He was one of his main guys.
Yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to bring up about that is she is a crazy stunt actress. So the fact that she's playing a night sister and she has all of these different stunt roles, I hope they give her some more fights. Like obviously we saw it.
Ahsoka and Morgan.
Yeah, obviously we saw that fight once, but
Right.
giving her more of that would probably be really cool to see. But AJ, go ahead, round us out. What are some of the updates on your theories, or what are you still hoping that they give you?
Well, touching on the Maroc situation, I just think he's going to be Maroc. I think this is one of those situations that people think there's a twist to the character, thinking that someone they recognize. And for me personally, I was hoping that was going to be Barris. Personally, I felt like that would have been narratively awesome, especially for Ahsoka's character.
Comedy.
You said comedy.
No, Mike's comment was he's here for Shin Hati.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what? Like, back to what I was saying. So I don't think it's anybody that we know of. I think he is just an inquisitor or whatever they want him to be. It's just an original character. That's what I think about Maroc right now. What I want to see in the future, nothing really much has changed. I really want to see what Ezra and Thrawn was doing up until now, because even throughout the episodes that we've seen so far, it sounds like Thrawn has a way of communicating with everybody to let them know that he's still alive, but he can't say where. Maybe he doesn't know where, like they said in the previous episodes, as in another galaxy. So there's that. I know we're not going to get much of Thrawn this series. Probably, I guarantee you that the shot that we saw in the trailer is literally like the end of the series. That's what I'm. Yes, that's what I'm assuming, because what we've gotten so far between Ahsoka and the Mandalorian, and what the future holds for us with Dave Filoni's universe, is that Thrawn is basically the big bad of the series. So and most likely he'll be part of that movie that he's doing. Wasn't he? He was doing a movie as well?
Yes, so that was one thing I was going to bring up. Yeah, the movie is supposed to be the culmination of essentially the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian series, and this series. So all of those are supposed to all intertwine into that series. And if I remember correctly, he flat out said Thrawn is the big bad of that movie.
Yeah. So I believe that we're not going to get a lot of Thrawn in the Ahsoka series. I just think they're focusing on finding him. And at the end of the series, I guarantee you they still won't find him at the end of the series. What I think is that we're going to see Thrawn in another galaxy, basically, and showing that he's all right, staying with Ezra. Or maybe they won't show Ezra at that point either. So there's a lot of things going into this.
I will say I feel like we will for sure see Thrawn in the series, whether it's episode 7 or 8. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't see him showing up next week or even episode 5 or 6. I think it'd be very, very much too quickly. But I very much could see it being episode, like I said, 7 or 8. I think at some point, knowing what because I don't think there's supposed to be 2 seasons of Ahsoka. I think it's supposed to be this leading directly into that movie. At some point, I'm sure we're seeing Mando, maybe even Bo-Katan. Like, we're going to see them, because if the movie is supposed to be the culmination of all of these different stories, they're probably going to show up towards the end of this series, so that way the movie can just hit the ground running.
Obviously,
go ahead.
So what I think is going to happen is that we already seen in this episode that all the senators rejected Hera's
Mhm.
plan. But what I think is going to happen is that Mothma is going to convince them to actually give some reinforcements, and that's where we'll see Mando, Boba, um, crap,
We'll probably
everybody from the So we'll get them, but to be honest, I think it's going to be season 8 where we're going to get all of that. Like for the season 6, I can see them doing the Clone Wars
episode 6.
backstory. Yeah, sorry. What did I say?
I'm-
Season?
You kept saying
Yeah, I was
season.
about to say, like, what are we talking about? I have not seen
Episode.
that many seasons of anything.
My
I
bad.
will say, the rumor is that I think the first, I don't know if it's the only, but the rumor is that the flashbacks are supposed to start in episode 5, because they said that's the episode that Hayden Christensen is, I guess, listed instead of like listed in the credits.
Do we have the list of credits right now?
I don't know. Somebody's just going off of IMDb Pro.
No,
but
I'm not trusting that.
I'm just saying that's what I let off saying
Yeah,
that's what the rumor is.
I get it.
But so, yeah, like you said, I could fully see that happening. I will say, if everything that you just said happens in episode 7 and 8, you just listed a very packed 7 and 8. So I'd be really, maybe one of those should start bleeding into episode 6. But to that end, I also just hope that episode 5 isn't the only episode that has the flashback. So, what episode is Filoni? What is his next episode directed? That'll give us a better 5.
Is it 5? Okay.
Yeah, 5. Peter Ramsey's directing the next episode. Dave Filoni is 5. Jennifer Getzinger is 6. Gita Patel is 7, and then Rick.
I'm willing to bet that 5 is the Clone Wars episode, the flashback.
I always butcher his last name, but
Famayima, right?
Yeah, Famayima or something like that. But he has the finale. So nice. Honestly, an amazing lineup of directors leading out the series. Peter, your episode better be longer than 37 minutes. Everybody else, your episode better be longer than 37 minutes. Give me these hour episodes. I don't know what you need to do. If you need to go back to the drawing board, hopefully you did all that. No, man, you better turn it into a live action episode.
Grab
live
some extra
episode
footage
for the
or
second
something.
half. I don't know what you need to do, but clearly we all are in agreement that Ahsoka is off to a very hot start. The first 3 episodes, it didn't sound like any of us had too many drawbacks, of course, other than me saying it was too short. But I always say that's a hallmark of a great series, when you're just left wanting for more. Mike, you didn't need to go that direct. I don't want 37 minutes and 59 seconds. I would still be upset. We're talking 45 plus. 45 plus is your sweet spot.
Mike is like, definitely left out some credits.
Yeah, they definitely need to start doing the next special or something with Star Wars and Marvel.
Right.
This is not hitting right now. I need hour 20, 59 minutes. That's what I need.
So I remember reading, I think it had to be Dave talking about it, like, oh, they're gonna be similar to the Mandalorians, 37 to 55 minutes. And I was like, you don't think that's an issue? Look at that long range. Like, let's say 40 to 50 minutes. But like I said, that's just a hallmark of wanting a great show. So this has been our look back at Ahsoka episode 3. Let's go around and I want to let you guys know where you can find everybody. What are some of the things that they could Star Wars? You know what, Mike? Before we go to that, to getting where everybody can find you, Mike is speaking the truth. We're gonna convert Mike into a better Star Wars fan, and we're gonna lead the way by telling them, Star Wars, you need to get back to making movies. That is the God to honest truth. They are, but I want more movies.
we gotta see it to believe it first. But
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like this is
on
coming.
paper,
and then
they are still working on movies. On paper,
They
they're
are.
still working on movies.
But I need to start seeing it. Granted, I know that there's an actor, there's a writer's strike. A lot can't happen right now.
Yeah.
But we're talking about once these studios get it in their heads, they need the people that they're trying to freeze out.
Yep.
Let's get back to making those. Let's get back to making those movies, and let's get back to making those good movies.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. I think we've given. Wait, sorry. Mike goes, the shade was unnecessary. Damn. It's always necessary to give shade. It's always necessary. Jamie,
I was kind of surprised by the shade.
No, man, it's always needed. And what do you need them to support you in?
Well, you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at _art. I'm actually going to start posting a lot more on TikTok and YouTube Shorts as far as anime and stuff is concerned. So if y'all are into anime, definitely be sure to check out those platforms. And for gaming, you can find me at _prime on Twitter and YouTube as well. I am finishing up Tears of the Kingdom here shortly, so I'd love to see some of you guys in the comments, whether you played Tears of the Kingdom or not, and you don't care about spoilers. I would love to hear your thoughts and see you there. And that's it for now.
Word on the street is you about to start doing TikTok dances.
I've been doing those, just not recording it.
Okay. Well, I guess apparently you're going to start recording those TikTok dances, I should say.
I mean, if that's going to drive up engagement, sure.
Also, your Tar Heels are up 3 at halftime.
Let's
AJ,
go.
Where can the people find you, and what do you need them to support you in right now?
Everybody can find me on Twitter, as always, 24/7. You can also find me at Geeks 5 Nation. I recently just did a review for The Good Mother, which was a decent movie. I'll just say that.
Okay.
And I also, one of my latest articles was the Ahsoka, why Ahsoka is one of the best Star Wars characters. I also did an article on that as well.
We'll link that into the comments, or not the comments, but into the description. We'll make sure that is there. We'll also make sure that the review is there. We'll have your entire profile there. You didn't sound high on the movie though, so I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, you're fine with that one.
All right, Joel. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good. I was done.
All right, Joel. To wrap us up, where can they find you, and what do you want their support on? I
am a floating guest, it seems, most of these days. That's where I'm at. If you really need me, I'm on Twitter a lot of the time. That's my handle, Joel_J27 on Instagram and Twitter, or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm on there. And yeah, that's usually where I'm at. I'm on here. I'm over there. I'm on here. I'm all over the place.
All right. He's all over the place. You can find me at Didge_D. Like Joel said, my handle is right there. Also, you can find me at GeeksetPodcast on every platform for both of those. You can find the Geekset Podcast also on our website, the Geekset Podcast, or it's just GeeksetPodcast.com. You can find us on Discord. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/GeeksetPodcast. We have a GoFundMe as well as a website for our completely funding, our currently filming documentary, the Black Geek documentary, where we would talk about the history of Black geek culture as well as overall geek culture just through a Black lens. You can find information there. You can follow us at Black Geek Doc on Twitter, at Black Geek Doc on Instagram. Eventually we'll get a thread. No, man, I got to get through all of this. I didn't have it written down. So this is all off my memory.
Excuse me, hold on, what?
I didn't write it down, so this is all just what I can remember. I'll have it written down for next time. But I think that is everything. Before we go Badgers, go Bucks,
go Tar Heels.
I guess go Tar Heels, and go Huskies. NIU won this week too. Let's go. We are out. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.